Hello, let me see if I can do anything about this camera angle other than just lean forward. It's really not great. Hi, we are here for our weekly live chat. Tonight we're going to be talking about the garden. Look at this, what's going on here, guys? What's going on with that? So if anyone pops in, be sure and tell me where you are, who you are. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Hi, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I'm gonna try and get something and prop that phone up a little bit higher so it's not like looking directly at my nose, like right there. Iowa, how is your weather in Iowa tonight? Hey Kathleen, glad you're here. I don't want to have to hold my hand like that the whole time. So let me see what I can do. Hey, and Farm Alarm's in the house. Wow, everybody's here tonight. Hi guys. Let me go to live chat. How's everybody's weather? We just had like a little rainstorm. Hang on one second. I'm gonna try and mess with something here. Be right back. I'm gonna try and prop that up a little better if I can. Grover's gonna help me out a little bit. I'm gonna try and prop the phone up on these little books and see if I can raise that up and not have it fall over. Hey, that's a little better. 92 and sunny in Utah. Rain, rain, rain in Missouri, yes. In fact, we just had a little storm like pass through this afternoon. And let's see. So I'm having a little bit of problems in my garden. I'm not really thrilled about what's going on out there. Some of you probably saw that I had a mystery herb. And it turned out to be, what was it? Lemon balm? And I was really excited about that once I figured out what it was, once you figured out what it was and told me. And I went out and it's just absolutely gone. Gone. Like it was never ever there. I don't know what happened to it. The only thing I can think of is some kind of critter went in and ate it. I mean, there's no stem. It's not like there's bug damage. It's just absolutely gone. And I know where it was because I actually marked the spot with one of those little flags. So that is quite a bummer. And Ashley, how are you getting flooding with no rain? It must be raining like wherever your rivers flow from, right? Because otherwise, how does that happen? Kathleen, the good news is I have not had to water my garden all season. So yes, it kind of does make for a good garden, but it also makes for slugs, which I've never had a slug issue before, and now I have these little tiny slugs eating my plants. And my all my pumpkin, all my squash, I must have planted probably about 12. No, I planted a lot more than that because I planted like 4 or 5 plants in each spot, and I planted in 12 different spots. 2 pumpkin varieties and a squash variety, and then I probably had like 6 or 7 plants come up. They were looking pretty good. One of my pumpkins like had spread out about this much. The leaves were like the size of my hand. They were looking really good, and now they're just dead. And I think it's squash bugs because I've had squash bug problems before, so that was like the first thing that made me think that's what it was. So I made a peppermint oil spray with water in a spray bottle. I saw that on Jessica from Roots and Refuge on her Facebook page, and so I gave it a shot. And when I went out there, but I think it might have been too late. I went out there and basically all the plants are dead. And but when I sprayed one, like the one that had some leaves left on it, it like squash bugs scattered. So I'm not really thrilled with how things are looking. I still do have corn. Actually, some of my corn is a good, I don't know, 12, 18 inches tall. So I'm hopeful that we might actually have a corn harvest, because around here the saying is knee-high by 4th of July if you want to have a corn harvest. And some of my plants are up to my knees, so I might actually get some corn harvest. So I went out last night and I replanted pumpkin and butternut squash and yellow straight neck squash. And then I planted 3 different types of beans around the corn. I have 1 tomato that's looking pretty good. I have a basil plant that's looking okay. My potatoes are looking okay. That's about it. It's not about it. Not a farm girl, not a gardener at least. So it's kind of sad. The garden is kind of depressing me right now. But I was also given some strawberry plants today, so I'm gonna put those in the ground and see how they do. And I might need to build a bed for them because I know strawberries actually can be quite invasive. All right, let me check out what, I know some people were saying stuff. Hello, Kenneth from Lake of the Ozarks. Ashley says, the river is going back up. We've had a little rain, but the floodgates up north are opening and falling into our river. Oh, no. So how's everybody else's garden looking? Are you guys doing good? What else? I did, however, harvest some mulberries this weekend. You guys, I have to tell you the cutest little story. So I have some friends that started out as viewers, and then they moved to Missouri, and they're now friends of ours, and they came over for the first time last Saturday. And last Saturday it was hot. Hey Ann, hello, welcome. The actual temperature was 97 and the feels like temperature was 111. It was 111. It was just like nasty hot and humid. But they came over and they have a little 5-year-old boy and he was just adorable. And he tried to say he did say the absolutely most cutest things. That's really bad English. But I could never get it on camera. Like we were at breakfast and he just leaned over to me and he goes, Lorella, it's really funny that you call yourself not a farm girl, but you live on a farm. And what else? He also, he said, he just kept saying stuff like that. Like we were walking along and when he came to the house, he said, how do you make a video? I've always wondered how you make the videos. So we took video and that'll probably come out Saturday or Monday maybe. I've got a couple I'm working on. And then when he left, when they were driving home, his mom texted me and she said that they walked outside and they shut the door and he goes, not a farm girl, that was magical. So that was it was hilarious. So while they were there, we picked mulberries, we played in the creek, they helped feed all the animals. So that's just my fair warning. If any of you come to visit, I do put people to work right away. I'm like, if you're gonna come over and see my messy house and where I live, you get to do farm chores with me. But we had a nice time. It was really fun hanging out with them. And he was absolutely adorable. Somebody said their blackberries are, Anne said that her blackberries are ripened. And I saw Farm Alarm had a video come out. I don't know if it was today's. It was in my feed as I was scrolling through about pruning blackberries. So yes, it is blackberry season. My blackberries actually, I don't have any berries on them yet. But I live in the holler and things are a little bit behind everybody else. So hopefully we'll see some pretty soon. What else? Oh, and I saw Woody is here listening. Thank you, Woody, for hanging out. Hi, Elizabeth. Hello from Arkansas. I have 3 pregnant does, I believe, at my house. So doe rabbits, those would be, not deer. I don't have deer. So I have 3 pregnant does, and hopefully pretty soon they will be kindling, I think is what it's called, and their babies are called kits, but not too soon because I only have 1 nesting box, so I need to get 2 more nesting boxes. The first 2, the 28th day would be a week from tomorrow, and the other one is almost a week later. It's because of the issues I had with her. when I traumatized her. Poor virgin thing. And I talked about that last week on my live, so if any of you were here, you heard about that. But I don't know if any of you were here, so if you want to hear the story of what I learned about rabbits and their breeding practices, I'd be happy to share that again for those of you who were not able to be here last week. It was kind of an interesting thing, and I thank Elizabeth for being available because I kind of texted her in a panic. But I guess I'll go ahead and share it, and then you guys can listen or not. If you heard it last week, that's fine. So I have 3 does and 3 bucks, and 4 of them, so 2 pairs, are from Kevin and Sarah, and then the New Zealand Reds are from Elizabeth, and the New Zealand Reds are both young, so it was their first time. And the white ones from Kevin and Sarah like bred really easily. When you breed rabbits, they will have what they call a fall off, and it literally means the boy rabbit falls off of the female rabbit when he's finished. And you know, if you have a cage, a wire cage, they thump on the bottom of the cage, and then you let them do that about 3 times, and then you're pretty sure to have pregnant rabbits. So I put the buck New Zealand Red in with the doe New Zealand Red, and he kind of chased her around, and he would try to mount her, and she kept tucking her behind under, and she kept going to a corner and sticking her head in it, trying to get away, and she was shaking, and he would try a few times, but he never had the fall off. So I just felt really bad for this poor virgin girl, and I took her out and put her back in her own cage, and she ran straight to a corner and tucked her head in it like this and just sat there shaking. And I thought, oh no, I have traumatized this poor rabbit by putting her in with this buck who doesn't know what he's doing, and maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. So I texted Elizabeth, and she said, turn her over and look at her private parts and tell me whether they are light pink or dark purple. And so I did that, and they were light pink, and she said she's just not ready yet. And I had always heard that rabbits were ready at any time, and that they didn't have like a cycle, that they could just be bred anytime. Well, after she told me that, I started looking up information about it, and I was like, what in the world? It turns out rabbits actually have a 16-day cycle, and they are fertile 14 out of 16 days. And there are 2 days in the cycle that they cannot be bred, and apparently I picked one of those 2 days to try to breed her for the first time. So I put her back in her cage for about 4 or 5 days till the next time I could get out there and really take care of it. And then I put her back in the buck's cage. You always have to bring the doe rabbit to the buck rabbit, because the does are territorial and they will fight the buck in their own cage, but they'll be fine. And I just put her back in, and she just like walked around. They sniffed each other a couple times. She raised her hind end right up, and it was like done deal. It was like no problem at all. So I did add ACV to her water, which Elizabeth suggested. So I don't know if it was just waiting, you know, if she just wasn't ready the first time, because she acted completely different. So I would assume it was just she wasn't ready to be bred, and then by 4 days later or whatever, she was. So hopefully from a week from now to 2 weeks from now, we should have baby bunnies, rabbits, kits. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm a lot happier with the way those are going than the way the garden is going right now. And yes, I do have Marco Polo. I will connect with you on there. And let's see, was there, trying to see if there was other comments. I don't think so. So that's what's going on with the rabbits. I also had a chance, we finally had a sunny day where I was at home long enough and early enough to have, to be able to get into the beehive. So I did that yesterday. So if any of you follow me on Instagram, or if you don't, you can. It's at Lorella Crews. LorellACrews. A lot of times on Instagram, I post pictures of things and the video won't come out for a few days. So if you want sneak peeks, that's a good place to do it. And I was able to get in the beehive yesterday, and I added on another box, and they had a 10 frame box pretty much full of honey, and they were already capping it off. It was white and beautiful, and I was so excited about it. So I've been trying to keep bees for about 3 years. The first year I had 2 hives, and 1 did not make it over winter. In the spring, I split the remaining hive, but later I realized that I had left the hives with too many resources to guard. So when you split a hive, their colony decreases by about half, and then I should have put an entrance reducer on the front of the hive, so they only had to regard a small entrance, and I should have taken out some of the honey in the other frames and things and just left them like with 1 or 2 boxes, so that the small number of bees could protect the hive from things like small hive beetle, wax moths, you know, other invaders that want to come in and rob the honey, things like that. I didn't do that, so I lost those 2 hives. So that was my second year. And then last year, our friend, and we go to a beekeeping club in Springfield, and it has like 200 something members. It's a really nice sized club. There's usually 70 to 100 people there each month. It's a monthly meeting, and they have speakers, and they have a breakout session for new beekeepers, and it's nice. So if you want to get into beekeeping, I highly recommend that you join a bee club and that you get a mentor. It's very, very helpful. It's a completely different thing. I had watched tons and tons of YouTube videos, but then actually going and working hives with somebody and going on field days and learning how to do it, it's really different when you open up a hive and there's like, you know, 15,000 bees in it. It's completely different than when you see it. Anyway, so we had a friend who wanted to get into beekeeping, and she came with us to Bee Club. And she went through the beginner class that they have, and then she ordered her bees, and she was a beekeeper for almost, I guess, about a year. And then found out she got stung a couple times, and turned out she's deathly allergic. And the last time that she's uninsured, so she couldn't get an EpiPen because they're crazy expensive. And the doctor told her, if you get stung again, you might not make it to the house to call 911. So if you cannot afford an EpiPen, you need to remove the bees from your property. So you know, it's not, bees are not probably just going to randomly sting you, but if you work beehives, there's a chance you're going to get stung at some point. And so she generously gave us her 2 hives, all of her beekeeping equipment, a honey extractor, a hand crank one. I mean, just like incredible amount of supplies and equipment, and just asked that we split the first year's honey with her. So I will probably give her some honey every year from now on, as long as I have bees, because I was just so generous, or at least for several years, because beekeeping is not an inexpensive hobby. Once you get going and you have equipment, it's not too bad, but getting started is pretty expensive to get everything you need. So of the 2 hives that she gave me, I lost 1 to wax moths. I'm really not a great beekeeper yet. Not a beekeeper. Not a farm girl, not a beekeeper, not a counselor, not a gardener. What else can I not be? And I thought I had lost both hives. So last fall, that was like coming onto winter, I thought I'd lost both, but 1 hive I hadn't cleaned up yet, and I just left out there in the field. And we would like go out there because I wasn't sure. Every now and then I'd see like a bee coming out, and I thought, I don't know, there might still be bees in there, but I never checked it really. And come spring, all of a sudden a nice warm day happened, and bees just came out of it, and there were bees going in and out ever since. And so we don't know whether some queens will reduce their colony over winter, and and just keep a real small colony, but so we don't know if that's what happened or if it really was just an empty hive and then a swarm flew into it, which also has been known to happen. Either way, I'm happy. And they're super gentle. Yesterday I got in there and they were just like, hey, hey girl, hey. You know, they were just so sweet. And like every now and then if you do something dumb and bees get mad, they'll like ping off you. Like they don't sting you, but they'll like start like coming at you like ping, ping, ping. And you know, they didn't do that. They didn't like come out. Sometimes if they get mad, they'll come out and just kind of buzz around like this, like, hey, you're in our territory, go away. They didn't do anything like that. Like I just had to do a little bit of smoke here and there, and they were just fantastic and gentle and sweet, and they're making a ton of honey, so I'll probably have honey to harvest this year. And next spring, I haven't actually been down in the brood box yet, which is bees make brood usually in the lowest box, and then or two, and then they'll do most of the honey above. So the bottom two boxes will be where they bring in nectar and pollen and lay eggs and do all of that, and then the honey, they'll go up from there. So as you bring in, and it's not really that they know like this is a honey box, this is a brood box. A lot of times you'll see the honey, they're called honey supers, are short, they're like this big, and the brood box are like this big. It's not because the bees have a preference. It's because honey is really heavy. So beekeepers put the shorter box up there so they're not having to lift 100-pound things of, I mean, seriously, you can have like 40 or 50 pounds of honey in one thing. In fact, I want to switch all to 8 frame boxes, the small ones. But you can put deeps. If you stack deep on deep, I mean, the bees will fill it up. It doesn't matter to them. It's not a preference to them. I mean, bees make their houses in walls and under porches and in trees and stuff. So it's not like, you know, anybody said, a bee wrote down and like made out a list for their contractor. This is what we need our hives to look like. And I did see someone talking about carpenter bees, and no, carpenter bees don't make honey. Only honeybees do. But I think there are some bees that are good for like eating, I want to say wasps or something, right? For keeping them away. I don't really know. I know that, or maybe mosquitoes or something. Like those little tiny, you've seen those little houses with like the rolled up paper or little sticks that with like the little holes they make? Somebody probably knows what I'm talking about. There is something that you can make to attract a kind of bee that will help fight off other bad insects, but I don't know. I only know a little bit about honeybees. And after 3 years of doing it, I feel like I know less now than I thought I knew going into it. I feel like that about a lot of things, actually. Yes, we've got that. So bees are doing good. Cows are doing good. Rabbits are doing good. All my chickens and turkeys and ducklings are doing good. I'm going to be building some tractors pretty soon for rabbits and or chicken grow out things. I have a design for a tractor I'm working on, so I'll be sharing that in a video when I make it. After going to Filer Farms, I don't know if you guys saw that video. I went up there. Kenny Filer is a Missouri homesteader in the Kansas City area. So last week I took Leslie up to get her started for college, and we went and visited his farm. And I made a video, but anyway, I tried moving his tractors and they were just ridiculously heavy. So I'm not quite doing it the way he is, but I am implementing a couple things that I saw, and I'm not quite doing it the way Kevin and Sarah are. So Chris and I made some design plans, and when I get to building those, I will be sure and share those with you for sure. I was at the farmer's market Saturday, and I got 3 different kinds of wildflowers in pots that I'm going to be planting near my garden. I love flowers very much. And the echinacea and black-eyed Susans are both in bloom right now around here. I have black-eyed Susan in my pasture, so I think I'm going to go dig it up and bring some and put it near the garden. But I want to find some echinacea, and so I texted my friend at the Department of Conservation, and I was like, is there any law that prevents me from digging up flowers from alongside the road? And she's like, yeah, you're really not supposed to dig up on the right of way. You're not supposed to dig around a road. And I was like, oh, man. And so I was like, well, what if I just go like way down a dirt road where probably nobody will notice? She's like, yeah, that's probably fine. It's probably fine. But just don't do it like out beside the highway or something. And I saw somebody made a comment about a PVC tractor. And I have seen those, but where we get it's so windy, I would be afraid of it blowing away or blowing over because it is terribly, terribly windy. Now you can fill them up with water, but then they're heavy like wood. And I thought I had something else, but I lost my thought. I don't remember what else I was going to talk about. So we've got that. Oh, I do remember. Yes, I spoke with Sarah yesterday. So for those of you, I can't imagine anyone not knowing who Kevin and Sarah are. Kevin and Sarah from Living Traditions Homestead. They are homesteaders and YouTubers who live on the opposite side of town from me. And on Friday night, Friday afternoon, evening, their daughter was in a horrible, horrible car accident. It was storming. I don't know the details of it, but they have posted about it on their social media and on YouTube, and her car was just crumpled up, and there was like this much space in the front of her car where she was just like tucked in, and she sustained only soft tissue damage, so no broken bones, no internal injuries, no bleeding on the brain. I mean, they did all kind of tests on her at the hospital, but she's okay. I started to say she's fine, but she's not fine. It's going to be probably a long recovery before she doesn't feel sore. Although she's young, so she'll probably heal much faster than you or I would. She's doing well, and yeah, it's awful. When I was watching their video, I was like crying. I was like, just imagining. I don't know. My daughter was in her car rolled over one day, and I came upon the accident, and she was fine, and the car was not nearly as bad, and it was still like I was still shaky and stuff. So I can't even imagine being in their shoes, but we're so very thankful that she's okay. If any of you want to send thank you cards, what is wrong with me? Get well cards, or notes of encouragement or anything, or prayers. Their address is in the description of their videos and on their website as well, and it's livingtraditionsHomestead.com is their website. So I would encourage you to do that. What else? No live stream next Wednesday. We're not having church service that night. We're actually not tonight either. But it's July 3rd. A lot of people will be vacationing, and I'm not going to be coming into town that night. I'm going to be at home with Chris. We are empty nesters, so that is new for us. It's kind of different not having the girls around, although in the last year, with as much as they were working and going to school, we didn't see a whole lot of them anyway. And Leslie went to Africa last year, so we had about 3 months of trying to get used to her being gone. Carter is lifeguarding at a campground in Oklahoma, and Leslie has started her internship at International I'm having a hard time with words tonight. International House of Prayer in Kansas City, Missouri. And she's doing an overnight fire and the night internship. So I spoke to her this afternoon, and I was like, are you going to bed? She's like, Mom, I'm just getting up. It's afternoon. Oh yeah, that's right. I can't keep track of her schedule. I can barely keep track of my schedule. So her day starts at 3 in the afternoon and ends about 6 in the morning. She sent me a Marco Polo this morning, and she was like, the sun looks so pretty behind me, but I'm not supposed to look at it. I was like, what are you not supposed to look at it? It's not like you're going to melt. And she said that, excuse me. She said they're really not supposed to spend much time in the sunlight, or like especially in morning light, because it will reset their clock back to a daytime schedule. So they go home and go straight to bed. What else? What else do you guys want to know about? What's going on in your lives, in your gardens, on your farms? I think I saw Mama Grows was talking. Hey, Mom H. Welcome. Brenda says, native solitary bees as pollinators. They have the type how she described. Mason leafcutter and miner bees are example, I guess. Interesting. Yep. I'd heard of those, but I haven't ever tried to attract anything like that. You know what I would like to have? I'd like to have a bat house. I know we have bats in the area. Oh, people are just talking about carpenter bees and different kinds of bees, mason bees and stuff like that. I would love, love, love to have a bat house and have bats come out and eat mosquitoes and stuff. The rain, I don't know if it's the rain or if it's just Missouri, but it seems like we are having worst year for bugs. I mean, it's so gross that at night when I go out to shut up all the birds, and we have birds in like 3 different locations right now, and by birds I mean fowl that we raise on the farm, I have to be careful to walk with my mouth closed, which is really weird. So I guess I'm a mouth breather, because I never would have known. I'm walking around like outside. I had no idea. If you guys are ever with me and you see me, like, tell me to close my mouth, please, because that's really an unattractive look, isn't it? When I'm walking, though, I have got more than one something bug in the back of my throat and like been gagging and coughing and trying to get it out. So not fun at all. The bugs are just horrendous and nasty and gross, and they can just all go away. I would be happy. Yes. So what did I see? All right, so it's not just me. It is more bugs than normal. Oh, Mom H, your son might have to have his eyes sewed shut from shingles. Would it be permanent? I mean, like, is it just they're gonna stitch it so it can heal, or would it be permanently closed? Is he blind in that eye? That would be very traumatic and life-changing, because when you lose sight in one eye, you lose your depth of field, and it also makes it hard. Like, you have to turn more because you lose all your peripheral vision on one side. There's a lot of repercussions from that. That would be a really tough thing. Sorry about sticking my finger up here when I I do this from my phone, and the chat like disappears. So if I want to go back up and read what you guys have written, I have to stick my finger in your face. So sorry about that. Okay, so I saw you said it would be temporarily to help it with healing, which would be good. So, I mean, it would still be rough, and I'm sure nobody wants to have their eye sewn shut. That sounds very painful and not enjoyable, but I'm glad that it would not be permanent. Let's see, we're about half an hour in. I don't know that I have a whole lot more to talk about, so guys, hit me up. Let's have some questions. You want to do an impromptu Lorella's live life advice? I haven't given anyone advice lately. And I see Kathara's in the house. Hello, welcome. Yeah, so we can be praying for your son, because we don't, I hope that it doesn't have to be done, but I am glad to hear that if it does, it will not be permanent. I'm kind of losing steam. I can't really think of anything else to talk about, so I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Your barn is going up, exciting. That is, I can't even talk. Barn is going up Saturday. That is very exciting. And Branscombe Farm hit 1,000 subs today. Yay! That's so exciting. I did not know that. I'm going to celebrate for you. And, oh, not again. No, don't do that. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, here we go. I was going back up. Mama Grows, my question, is it healthy to stay at home every day, all day? Yes. I would totally stay at home all the time if I could. I think it's mostly healthy. I think, you know, it is good to live in community with others. It is good to have a body of believers to fellowship with. It is good to get out sometimes. But I think that our culture particularly puts too much emphasis on being away from home, that we don't need to be. And I don't think you're at home all day, every day, like you think you are. I think you get out more than you think you do. Ashley says, I like going places. I couldn't imagine staying home all the time. I know, you little extrovert, you. So, and I saw a couple other questions. My favorite veggie, and what else? Oh, Ashley got to speak to a class in summer school today. They watch our channel. That's fun. What kind of class was it, and how old were the students? That is really fun. And then Brenda asks if I talked about my garden. I did, so I can go back and recap my garden. And I will also talk about my favorite vegetable. It's hard for me to pick a favorite vegetable. So I'm going to assume you mean to eat and not to grow. What is my favorite vegetable to eat? Now, I don't know that it would necessarily be the one I eat most often. But I think when I just think real quick, butternut squash comes to mind as my favorite. I love butternut squash. I love eating it roasted, like in chunks. I love eating it. My favorite way to cook butternut squash is to put it in the microwave, whole microwave. I am having such a hard time with words today, guys. I hope this is not an indication of things to come. Crock pot. Put it in the crock pot, whole, on low for 8 hours. Slice it open. It is ready. The perfect consistency to go into a soup or to have with a little bit of butter. I don't even need brown sugar or anything on it. Just a little bit of butter, and like that is so yummy. I also love to make a butternut squash soup that has like caramelized onions and coconut milk and a little bit of curry in it. Yum, with some sour cream. I'm telling you, it's delicious. So that's probably my favorite one to eat. I don't eat it that often though. The vegetable we eat most often in our home would be bell peppers and onions. We do a lot with bell peppers and onions. In fact, if I could grow bell peppers, onions, apples, kale, we have quite a lot of kale. We kind of go through phases where we eat a lot of kale and then we don't. And carrots, I could probably save my grocery bill a lot because I also juice carrot, apple, kale juice. So good. I like ginger. I like a lot of things. I like a lot of veggies. I actually said an off-the-cuff remark in one of my videos one time that I probably only eat about 10 to 12 vegetables at my house. But then when I started thinking about all the vegetables we actually do eat, we eat a lot more than that. But we probably have like some that we buy every week. Let's see, what else have we got up here? 4th graders. Fun. Okay, and I need to tell Brenda about my garden. Yeah, so my garden, Brenda, is really in a sad state this year. I planted it late because I was building my rabbitry and my rabbit cages and my grow out coop and all of that. So I started with a 3 Sisters garden with corn and 2 kinds of pumpkin and squash, and all of my pumpkin and squash are dead. So that's not a good thing. And then I think it's squash bugs, but I have replanted them, and then I made up a spray of peppermint oil and water that I got from off of Jess from Roots and Refuge off her Facebook page. It's 20 drops of peppermint oil in 16 ounces of water. So I'm going to spray that on them as they come up. And if I have to do it morning and evening, I will. I don't know what else to do about squash bugs. I mean, they just decimated the plants. So another thing is, like, we've got a lot of rain, but the leaves of my pumpkin plants, the ones that are left, were crispy, like they had been fried. So I don't know if it rained and then the sun came out and it burned the leaves that had water on them. I don't know. It was just really weird. But when I sprayed the one that was left, which really looked sad and wilted and crispy all at the same time, I sprayed it with peppermint oil and the squash bugs scattered. And so she's asking if I can cover them. No, because the squash bugs live in the soil. They live in the soil and under the mulch. So what I did think I might do, though, is, because I have wood chips, is pull the mulch back from the pumpkin plants and maybe try diatomaceous earth, DE, on the soil around the plant. And I don't know if that will work on squash bugs, but it might. But I don't want to kill earthworms, and I don't want to kill other things like frogs. I have frogs in my garden. I don't want to kill them with the DE, and I don't know if it would. And I don't want the DE on any of the flowers because I don't want it to kill any of the insects like my bees. Yes, it is very sad. It is the saddest story ever, and you should all be sad for me. And then I was given some Liz from Ozark Permaculture Gardens. I'm having to learn her new channel name. She used to be Little Farm Big Dreams, and she gave me 3 tomatoes and 2 herbs, and it turned out that one of the herbs was lemon balm, and I didn't know, and I tried it and I showed it on video, and everybody was like, that's lemon balm, that's lemon balm. And I looked it up, and yes, and I was so excited, and it was so nice and lovely. And I went out a day later after I planted it, and it was gone. Like, the plant was probably about this big. It probably had 3 or 4 stems. I mean, it was a really nice looking plant, healthy, absolutely 100% gone. Like, somebody came and took it up and put the dirt back down. There's no roots, there's no stem, nothing. Something came and took the whole lemon balm plant. My potatoes are looking okay. The leaves are a little bit bug eaten. 1 tomato is doing... Sorry, guys. Ugh. Sorry about that. 1 tomato plant looks like it might be okay. So last night I went back in the garden. I planted more pumpkin, squash, both a butternut and a yellow straight neck, a watermelon, and I planted a bunch of seeds of everything, just hopeful that it'll say. What else did I plant? I planted 3 different kinds of beans. So Lisa from 2 Wild Onions sent me a packet of beans, and they're called Rosetta's beans, and she got them from friends of theirs who were Amish, and they had been that Amish family's grandmother's beans. And she was asking me what kind of beans I was looking for because I accidentally bought bush beans when I wanted pole beans for my garden. And I said, I want something that's tender and not too stringy and can be eaten like fresh or canned or cooked. And she said those would be perfect for me. So I was really hopeful. I'm really hopeful those will do well. I also planted some Kentucky Wonder Beans, and then I planted a purple teepee bean that's a bush bean that was given to me by Two Family Homestead when I was on their channel. So lots of people have been giving me stuff, and today I was gifted a bunch of strawberry plants. So those are going in the ground tomorrow. But I don't have a raised bed for them, and I hear they're kind of invasive, so I don't know. They might just have to go in the garden this year, and then I can deal with it next year. So that's what's going on right now. And so it's just a sad state of my garden. So hopefully it'll turn out. Yes, so Brenda asked about having a different dirt source. And what I had planned on was doing my Three Sisters garden where my pigs were, which is a completely different side of the house, because they do say that if you've had squash bugs in an area, not to plant your squash again in that area. and that might be an issue for me. And I was planning on putting them over down in that pasture where we haven't had squash bugs because we had the pigs there, and but I didn't have time to get that ground ready for planting, so I had to plant where I had time. And Liz from Ozark Permaculture Gardens was so kind. She came and spent Memorial Day with me, helping me fence in my garden and all of that. Garlic to sanitize the soil. I have never heard of that. Yeah, so what do you guys think about DE around the base of the plant? Do you think that that would do anything to the squash bugs? And then hopefully the peppermint oil will work. But hopefully they'll come back up, and hopefully it's not too late. I looked on the packets and it looked like they might still be okay. Like they were kind of a June, July kind of thing. So hopefully that'll work. And then what else was I gonna say? Something else. Oh, so some of the beans, the Kentucky and Wonder beans I planted, is gonna be kind of an experiment because the package said they were dated 2015. So I kind of threw a whole bunch in there, and hopefully some of them will come up because they're, what, 4 years old now. So that'll be interesting to see whether they do or not. But I know Kentucky Wonder is a favorite among gardeners, and it's a proven variety, so that's what's going on. Hello, the busy little house. Thanks for popping by. Glad you're here. So, garden's not doing great. Everything else, though. And I shouldn't say that because the corn actually looks really lovely. I might get corn. I might get a harvest of corn, assuming I got it planted early enough. Hi, Vicky. Welcome. Glad you could pop by. So let's see. So that's the garden. Horses, cow, horses. We don't have horses anymore. See, guys, what is wrong with me? Cows, rabbits, chickens, ducklings, turkey poults, chicks. The Polish are like the cutest little guys ever. Do you guys remember the Flintstones? They had the Bugs was the band. It was a takeoff from the Beatles, and they had like those mops of hair that were like, you know, shaggy hair. That's what I think of when I think about the Polish chickens. Like, they're just adorable looking. I love them. And so I'm hoping I don't have roosters because they're straight run, and I only have 3 of them, and I have 1 Spitzauben, and I have yes, that's definitely showing my age. A Spitzauben, 3 Polish Silkies. So I got 5 Silkies, and I believe 2 of them are roos. I've seen at least 1 crowing, maybe a second one. So I'll probably get rid of 1 of those roos, but I will keep 1. Then I can breed the Silkies and hatch out hopefully nice silky eggs. And then I for sure have a Easter egg or roo, and he is absolutely handsome. So hopefully we'll get nice looking chicks out of him and his girls. So I'll separate them, and what I have heard is that if they're separated for at least 3 weeks before you start letting them sit, then after that their eggs will be pure. So we'll pull out all the Silkies in the spring, and then they'll go in the grow out coop, and they can have their babies in there. And then the Easter eggers, I don't know, I'll maybe try and let them hatch out eggs. I don't know how broody they'll get, or I might just stick some under the Silkies and see how they do. And I saw someone's watching from Russia. Did I see that? Someone who loves Putin. Well, hello. Hi from Russia. Thanks for watching. So that's about it. I think that brings everybody up to speed. He caught 2 of our chickens eating the duck's eggs that she was sitting on. Oh. Are they going to freezer camp? Did you dispatch them for me? Sounds like you dispatched them, but I don't think they went to freezer camp. I don't think he's going to do all that. Well, if they were eating her eggs, they were probably eating the eggs in the hen house too, because I saw some in there broken, so it's probably good that they went bye-bye. That's too bad. Thank you for taking care of that. All right, Chris, any other news that we need to tell everybody? So I will have a beekeeping video coming out. I will have a video coming out with Colton Lee and his family and their visit, and he was just so adorable. I have to go through and watch all the footage. I really hope we got him. He was saying the absolutely cutest stuff, and it didn't seem like we could ever get it when the camera was rolling. But it was quite fun having them over. They were super great. And as soon as stuff starts poking its head up out of the garden, I will let you know. All right, I think that's about it. Oh wait, here we go. There's some questions. Do you follow the Self-Reliant Roadshow? I haven't too much. I actually saw Prep Setter Bob at Baker Creek, but I don't know too much about them. I've seen a little bit of their stuff, but I did see that they're going around and helping people. I do know that, but that's really all I know. So maybe I should watch them. There's a fly in here. Just buzz me. Go away. Go away. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I enjoy spending this time with you every week. And remember, next week, no live show next Wednesday. And I will also try to remember to put a post out on YouTube and on my other social media. On Instagram, you can find me at Lorella Crews, LORELLACREWS. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here.